Hello everyone, what's going on, and welcome to another build video. It is about time that I bring you a build video, and definitely this one. It is the Lady Death, the Holy Trinity as I like to call it. You know, the Lady Death, Intimidate and Adrenaline Rush combo. The one that you've been seeing absolutely everywhere, the one that has dominated the meta for the last month or so. However, with the AR buff recently, we could see this build be on its way out. However, a lot of people are still using it. It is still a very strong combo, and so I want to bring you three slightly different variants of this build that I recommend. You should have at least two of these variants, but I have three of them just cause. So one of them will be a almost full Hasbro version. That's in order to counter foam. This one right here that I'm about to go into the menu with is the Sawyer's version. The Sawyer's EMP. The idea is to stagger players whilst not being able to stagger yourself, so you shoot them when they cannot shoot you. You'll put their shield away if they don't have full hazard protection or full disrupt resistance. And then the other version is the server build version. Really all it is I change it out Intimidate for Unbreakable. So let's begin with version number 1. Right here, this is it. Lady Death. Secondary, I recommend you choose something with range, because of course this is going to be an AR meta very soon, and so you're going to need to have something that you can rely on to deal some damage at range. You can't just run up to people with your SMG anymore. It's not going to work, not against someone who can actually shoot their gun. And then of course for the sidearm, well, not of course, but I like to use D50 for that high burst damage, so that when I do switch to it I can knock someone down pretty quickly. And of course I run finisher on this to give myself a little crit damage boost. And crit chance for the assault rifle. So if you can kill an NPC and you're fighting at mid-range, your assault rifle is actually going to hit really hard, and that's great. But this is a Lady Death build, and so this is a Lady Death. These are my stats. Could be better, but 13 is absolutely fine. So what sort of template are we looking at here? Well, due to the insane amount of crit chance you can get on an SMG for free, that's 21 on here. I believe it's 10 on the mod, so 31. That's 41 with the watch. That only leaves another 19 crit chance to get on the gear. So my crit chance is only 51, but that's fine, because when you roll in a team and you have a teammate running Coyote's mask, you're going to be capped out a lot of the time anyway. And this enables you to have a nice healthy amount of hazard protection, 66. However, if you're absolutely, depending on what pieces you have, if you want to have the crit chance for yourself and not rely on a teammate, you can drop this by 10 and roll it on here. That will put you at 57 crit chance. It's not essential to be at 60. You actually want to be just below 60, because you got to get whatever crit chance you can get, and you don't want to overspec, because overspecking means you're sacrificing something else elsewhere. So we go with one Cheska for crit chance because it's the most efficient brand set bonus in the game. We go with one Jarl because hazard protection and I have a really good roll. I go with 2 Sokolov and 1 Grupo for crit damage, and of course the single Sokolov for the SMG damage. Most of these builds you'll see without the Sawyers. I chose to go the Sawyers route because upon discovering, well, unlocking the EMP sticky, I realised that it staggered players, and it had a much longer EMP duration. With the nerf to the standard jammer duration from, I think it was 5.5 to 4.4, yeah, this was no longer that good. Plus it's still to this day super unreliable for putting shields away. There's a certain sequence of events in terms of you shooting the player before you EMP him to make this work more consistently. And well, fuck that, man. Go with the EMP sticky bomb. Of course not everybody's going to have this. I highly suggest you to go and farm for it. If you don't, it is an excellent skill. The cooldown is pretty normal, 27.3 seconds, but the EMP duration 8.6. so the way that I currently have this build set up, with 8.6 duration there, and my Hasbro being 75 disrupt, so I only disrupt myself for 25% of that time, which is what 2.15 seconds, which means I can run around, I get into a fight, I go boom, boom, shoot them while they stagger, and then the moment that they're ready to shoot back, I whip out the shield if I need to. Of course, this being the Intimidate combo, you don't have Unbreakable, you are susceptible to burst damage. This is why I run the big shield. Another reason why I run the big shield is when other people, if I'm facing multiple players, I'm going to burn one down super quick with this Holy Trinity combo. then I might be weak, I might not have time or space to pop a mech kit. Providing I've already used my EMP, this shield is a fallback option. Yes, you can go with the other shield, you know, the half shield, you can go with Firewall, but I recommend if you're going to go with Firewall to use Unbreakable. That's for a different version of the build. But for this one, we're sticking with the Holy Trinity. So the Sawyer's EMP is here so that you cannot stagger yourself, and it increases your total weapon damage. And that's total weapon damage, the second best form of damage that you can gain. So looking at this, and if you think, if it takes 3 seconds to pop a mech kit and you didn't have this buff already counting down, when you stop to pop a mech kit, not only are you going to go with Gunner from whatever you are to 130% armor, you're also going to gain at the very least 9% total weapon damage, because you're going to have to stand still for 3 seconds. However, when you do pop that mech kit, if you're good at creating space, what you can do is pop that mech kit and stay there for a couple extra seconds. So this is a very, very strong piece. You don't see that many people using it. And also it means that no one can use any seeker mines or grenades to stagger you out of a medkit animation. You will always get your medkit off, providing you bought enough time and nobody shoots you dead in the process. So what rolls do you want? You want crit damage and hazard protection. This already should be common knowledge by now. You're going to need to get your watch to 1000, so you don't have to spec for crit chance. If you haven't done that, get your ass over and do some farming. Find out the fastest farming tactics. Do that elsewhere. That's not my job. Just go and farm. So crit damage, hazard protection, armor. Of course, all my mods are going to be crit damage. I wish I had a Cheska with a red here. Apparently, there is talks of next patch them introducing generic mod slots everywhere across the board. So I'm going to be able to put a crit damage on here. So that's going to be great. Yes, I'm going to lose disrupt resistance, but it's not the end of the world. Really, it's not. So yeah, crit damage, hazard, crit damage, hazard, crit damage, hazard, and crit damage and hazard absolutely everywhere. Of course, being a 51 crit chance, you can swap one of the hazard rolls or one of the crit damage rolls to crit chance. You choose that. I recommend you do a hazard roll because you don't always need a shit ton of hazard. Of course, if you're running into foam fags, yeah, you're going to need to switch to a different build or one with more hazard. So let's go on to the next version of the build. This is the SMG hazard protection. It's basically the same thing. I just swap a couple of things around. Okay, we are back. Sorry about the technical difficulties we were having there, but we are here. So for the other version of the build, which I was trying to go to before I got rudely interrupted, is the Hasbro version. This is what you put on when you got little foam pussies just trying to like stick you on the ground because you know they've got no skill. This is probably a build that you have been killed by. Pieces in different slots for sure. You know, everybody gets different gear, but this is basically full hazard. Well, it's not full hazard because you have to run 3-piece 511, but since our income repairs got completely ruined, no one's running that anymore. It's a complete waste of time and space. You don't want health, you don't want it's don't bother. Do it this way. So hazard, we are 87.6. Would be 90 if I had perfect rolls, but I don't. I expect for full burn resistance, so I don't have problems when I break people's armor, especially when they have Unbreakable with Firewall. And my ensnare is I think 86.4 or something. Basically, get your hazard protection in high 80s and you will not get foamed by a tier 0 skill tier foam. And of course, people with foam, you're going to be running foam as a counter. Now a lot of players are actually running the full Hasbro foam build anyway, so in which case you're going to want to switch out your foam to something like a shield. A little half shield is really good to run. Protect the body shots while you land headshots in return. This is how you outplay these people. They all aim for body. If you can aim the head, you're going to make them shoot your shield. You shoot them, easy dub. So this is the same, basically the same build, juggled a few things around. Again, the premise is the same. Crit damage, hazard protection everywhere. I actually rolled a crit chance mod here for a reason. It must be to achieve the 57. Right. So I sacrificed a little bit of crit damage to get that crit chance up there. I normally only have to bring this out when I'm solo and I'm fighting foam pussies. But of course you can drop that crit chance mod for a crit damage mod if you have coyotes in the team. And be mindful of that. You don't want to have 60 crit chance if you have coyotes on the team. That guy is quite often going to be at mid-range and you're going to be sacrificing, well, not basically benefiting from crit that you could be benefiting from. This is a 3-3 build as well, a bit on the weaker side. If you find yourself still getting bursted down, I do suggest that you change your chest piece to Unbreakable. However, that's not bad. Let me save that. However, why do you have to interrupt me? Okay, we are back again. Another couple technical difficulties. I do apologise, man, but these NPCs are getting a bit, you know, I have to go sort them out. I might have to actually play a bit of PvE for a bit. So, you're probably going to want to switch out this for a Unbreakable chest piece if you are getting bursted in those difficult fights. It's very likely that you would. Of course, that's going to put your stats back to a more comfortable 2 red, 4 blue. 2 red is still plenty of damage output. 4 blue just makes your shield stronger. And of course, let's put that crit damage mod right back on there. So we are sitting at 57, 160, 70 headshot damage with 87 hazard. Just enough to prevent the foam from getting you. You don't want to be dealing with foam. But this is also a very good way of running things. Of course, bringing you to the third version. This is now complete. The third version of this build is, well, it's... I do recommend one more thing here, actually. Let me just say, if you're going to run Unbreakable, don't just swap your piece out. If you're going to run Unbreakable, do switch over from Gunner to Fireball, because the fire mechanic, the armor break fire mechanic is still very strong, despite it being nerfed only to like 5 seconds or so. 6 seconds because of the 20% extra burn duration. Yeah, it's still very strong, and when people push up in your face and they don't have the full Hasbro, it's going to save you and allow another adrenaline rush proc to happen. So heading over to the third and final version of the build, I actually have it set up. It's the server build. Really, it's not really that different from the other one, but it's Unbreakable and Sawyers. Sawyers, again, I don't want to be staggering myself, and it also to help me boost back the damage that I've lost from not having Intimidate. The Adrenaline Rush really shouldn't change for those close quarter fights and elongated fights. You get so much armor from this. It means you don't have to pop many armor kits. Also, I do recommend you run Fireball here instead of Gunner, because that's going to give the fire break mechanic. You want to take advantage of the fire break mechanic if you're using Unbreakable. Of course, if you're hot swapping your pieces from the Sawyers EMP build, which I do recommend you run with Gunner, reason being is you pop an armor kit, you go straight back to full armor, you don't have Unbreakable, and when you do get hit hard, if you were to have Fireball and Intimidate, you're not going to be able to get yourself back up to armor before getting bursted down. Now, the medkits aren't ridiculously overpowered. You can get quite easily bursted through an armor kit that you pop at low armor. So, I do recommend you get an instant full armor kit. The Gunner is the best, and it synergizes well with the Intimidate anyway. So, you know, you're going to pop this, they're going to take your blue armor down, but then an Adrenaline Rush will proc again, and you're going to get your Intimidate damage bonus back. So, that will cover it for the 3 variants of the builds. I do apologise for taking so long to bring this to you. The Lady Death meta, I do believe it to be on its way out. Also, I do apologise for no gameplay. I normally have gameplay at the beginning, at the end. I normally have tons of it. I'm swimming in it. But I looked back at my hard drive and I realised I don't actually have that much. Because after using the Lady Death for 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't actually record that much of me playing. Just because I forgot to press the button. And then I ended up making my sniper build, and all I did was really snipe, because SMGs don't take that much skill. All of this running up in everyone's face to get that stupid levels of insta-kill damage, you know, you win 1, maybe 2 gunfights, and then you just die to the 3rd guy. Yeah, the SMGs don't take a lot of skill, and I didn't really enjoy it, and I ended up sniping for the rest of TU9 because I could play half a mile down the road. I wouldn't get foamed. Status effects wouldn't get me. I could shoot people the moment they spawned, or half a mile down the road. They would never get close to me. And if they did, well, I was probably going for a cheeky little quick scope. So, yes, sorry for the lack of gameplay, but I'm not really using this build anymore. The AR meta is inbound. I am loving the assault rifles, but I still thought I'd bring it to you because, hey, I did still use it quite a lot, and it's still a very relevant build. People are still using it, and if you're looking for a twist, you know, a way to freshen up your Lady Death Holy Trinity experience, then chuck on a Sawyers and an EMP sticky, and you're pretty much good to go. So that's going to be an end for the build video. Had to record that a couple of times still, but you know what I mean. You're welcome, and I'll catch you in the next video in a bit.